What's up guys, YST here and welcome back to another Raid Shadow Legends video. And today, we're going to be doing a showcase on the green Ghost Rider himself from the Shadowkin faction. And at the time of recording this video, he is up during a summon rush as a fragment style event where you need to gather 10,000 points to get all of the fragments that you need to summon Michinaki. So I thought, because it's such a big investment and loads of players are considering this as an option, as he is actually a very cool champ, if it's worth it for you and the places where I would recommend to use him or where he just shines as a whole. So what we're going to be doing is take him into the Hydra boss, the faction wars, talking about the ways you can use him in the clan boss, and just the overall utility that I feel this champion brings to the table. So okay, let's just break down this kit. On the A1 with the Burning Bonds, attacks one enemy and has a 60% chance of placing a HP burn debuff for 2 turns. Now, when you talk about places like the clan boss or the Hydra boss, right, or just bosses in general, the burn ticks is a very good way to deal some damage, and it pairs very well with the Cursor of Curses passive. Whenever an ally attacks an enemy under a hex, which he does provide in his skill set, this champion will have a 50-50 shot to team up and join the ally's attack, meaning not only are you getting more Warmaster damage, but you're also having the potential to place more burns, which can be very crucial in the Hydra. And then on his double degeneracy, this is where he can remove some buffs and also place a hex of his own for 2 turns on a 3-turn cooldown, keeping this consistent and also removing the buffs from somebody like the Head of Wrath, for instance, to take off those increased attacks or any buffs that manages to get stolen. On the A2 with the Dire Hall, attacks all enemies, has a 100% chance of placing a decreased defense, but if you happen to have that hex up at the same time, will also place a decreased attack debuff for 2 turns. So the synergy behind it is very cool, because you can open up with this one, place the hex, remove some buffs, lead in with this one here, place the debuffs that you want to amplify your damage, whilst also mitigating damage with decreased attack. And then you then have that HP burn, which is very good for Hydra, alongside the self-ally attack feature whenever all of your champions hit one of the Hydra heads hypothetically. This is all kind of brought together with a defense aura as well, so for people that is struggling in the Demon Lord clan boss, one of the best auras out there in terms of adding to your sustainability and defensive stats. So in terms of everywhere in the game, he just has a role that can be brought into so many situations, and being tanky, good in terms of damage, and just a great kit in general. Definitely somebody that was on the top of my list when he first came out, and when I summoned him, if you go back and look at the reaction video, I was flipping my chair in excitement, so definitely holds a lot of value. So the way that I've actually decided to build this champion today is in a Relentless build. I want to showcase how many times he can place those hits, using 2 or 3 of his skill sets being AoE, getting a lot of Warmaster damage, and I just felt like in Relentless, we have a lot more chances to remove buffs and place hex and place these debuffs if one of the Hydra heads decides to cleanse himself, for instance. Also in places like the faction wars, trying to get as many turns as possible to speed up our runs and all of that good stuff. Other ways that I've used him is Savage was very good for my clan boss team. I used that for a while. You can go with maybe, what's the set called? A Guardian build potentially, because he's pretty tanky. You can use this to absorb some damage whilst also healing. So this would be a great way to consistently keep your champions under control. And there's just many ways. If you're early game, maybe even like Lifesteal, right? Could be pretty good to heal himself back up. Or a, what's another one that could be good here? Maybe a Reflex, maybe reduce some of those cooldowns and get those out more on time as well, adding to that damage. He's just such a versatile way in terms of you can build him. But we will be using Relentless today, just aiming for speed in all of the substats here. We've gone for crit rate on the gauntlets because I want this to be a bit more of a relatable showcase for players that can't get crit damage and crit rate in the substats. And then we've gone for defense percent on the chest plate and speed on the boots. We've gone for an accuracy banner with speed on it. We've then gone for crit damage on the amulet, which does deserve a little bit of an accuracy boost here. There you go, Michinaki. Beautiful. And then we've gone for defense on the ring with some HP percent and defense, just trying to add to his sustainability. Overall stats, we've gone for 53,000 HP, which is decent. 3.8k defense, which is a little bit on the low side, but enough to survive the brutal difficulty, which we will be facing today. We're going very fast at 265 because I want him to take as many turns as possible in today's showcase. But I'd say around 230 plus is a safe place to sit at, but 250 if you're trying to progress in the Hydra boss. 100% crit rate, 150% crit damage, which is on the low side, and 280 accuracy to place our debuffs. In terms of masteries today, it's subjective. I'll talk about the ways that I've used them prior to this. Warmaster, of course, you want to be dealing that damage. This is where most of it's going to be coming from alongside the burns. Support tree mainly to try and get extra chances to place those burns because it's not 100% chance on that A1. And then also the Master Hexer to try and extend those values. So a very good way to go. But when I was using him in the Demon Lord, I actually went for the defensive route because there was chances to use Retribution or Deterrence. And whenever those stun hits was happening or champions was dropping below a specific threshold, he was able to go through counterattack, deal more damage, and it really started to ramp up. So very, very cool here. I actually wanted to note that on his passive, right, this never used to be read like this. It says, this effect does not work against Hydra exposed necks. So the ones that is decapitated, I'm assuming. But it never actually used to read like this. So just thought I'd throw that in there. It's a little bit funny. And also it has no cooldown. So this is going to be able to proc every single time one of your allies takes a hit. So always that 50-50 shot going through, dealing that damage. So that is the gear, the masteries, and everything that I built on him today. So let's go into a few areas, see where he can shine. Let's get into it. Alright then, so we are now in stage 21 of the faction wars, where I usually use a Genzin for decreased defense. But what does Michinaki bring? An AoE decreased defense of his own, alongside the decreased attack. And I've taken out Ninja here for anybody that hates that champion, because unfortunately we can't get him anymore. So we got our boy Jingwon in here as well. Jingwon. Unfortunately, the way that he likes to use his abilities, there you go, that's the way where you can do the 50-50 shot to team up with the attack. But on auto, he tends to open up with this skill here, where we actually want to open up with this one. I'll just prove a point here. See that there? And this is kind of eliminating the chance to place the decreased attack, because the hex isn't up, right? There we go. He does it again. Even though that it's already up, he didn't decide to place the hex. So presets is something you need to consider when building this champion in your squads. It's not a big issue, I guess. It's just something to consider if you think, why isn't he placing the decreased attack here? That is kind of the main reason for it. On AoE 2 here, we've also got Man-Eaters and Steel Skulls and champions of this kind of nature, where they like to place tedious buffs like Unkillable. But what does he do? He likes to strip off those buffs, right? So when it comes to consistency and speed farming these things, it becomes a lot more easier to manage, right? So let's... Man-Eater, do you want to put that Unkillable up for us, please? Let's not kill him here. Oops. Oh, no, we've managed... Okay, so we decreased the cooldown of Yumeko, but hopefully you guys get the drift there. We're able to take those off and get through it a lot more easier. You don't have to worry about facing 100 hours of unkillable buffs. I wonder how much damage he's going to do. Let me know... Actually, no. In your head, guys, just think before we finish this off here, how much damage do you think he's going to perform in this comp? A good old Jingwon taking off those debuffs for us. Thank you very much, buddy. Helping out with the showcase here. There we go. Drop defense coming through. Decrease accuracy. And Sachi's down. She is down. Smite going through. And boom. Oh, Gory's taking a bit of a lick today. This Faction Wars boss probably likes the new Fire Knight. He's like, your freeze is just non-existent at the moment until they fix it. It's so overtuned at the moment. Raid, please. Sort it out. Alright, Gory's down. No problems. We're not trying to freeze start. Just trying to showcase his damage here. Extra turn coming through. And boom. Slicing them down. And he just got 858,000 damage, which outperformed pretty much everybody in this team altogether. So, in terms of damage, gets the thumbs up in terms of Faction Wars. I actually wanted to showcase my new Spider team, which actually has a Michinaki in it. Before it had a Mithrala Lifebane. And the way that I use this is we've got the Hex, we've got a Cleanser in Doom Priest, we've got a Reset Champion, a Royal Guard, and a Increased Speed, just to make sure we can get through this quicker as possible. So the way this is going to work is, we can open up with the Hex here, drop defense and weaken, and boom. So one of the spiders managed to resist one of the Hex or something, 3% chance, not a problem. We're then going to cleanse so our Royal Guard gets that sleep taken off. Look at those counters. Beautiful. Reset. Hex gonna go out here. Drop defense and weaken. And here comes the big nuke. Boom. And 28-second run and a mythical piece from the Skinwalkers faction. What did we get? Might just keep it in case any bomb champion comes out. Who knows? But yeah, guys, look, 4 million damage coming from Michinaki because of those AoE skills. Of course, it's not needed because Royal Guard is going to nuke anyway with somebody like a Mithrala Lifebane or something. But plays a really cool role in this team, right? And coming through those counters can just lead to more consistent runs where you might not max HP all of the Spiderlings, for instance. He's able to go through, team up with some attacks, and chunk down that boss to keep your time consistent. So very, very cool. In terms of clan boss, guys, I'll just throw up a little video here of like some damage where he actually dealt a big bunch in his team. I will leave this video in the description below for anybody that wants to check it out, which is more of a deep dive into the Demon Lord clan boss. But if we just head into my team currently, the way that I could utilize it is I could just take out a... I don't know, I could take out Ronda here, right? And then maybe just put a weakened champion in the place of Razin. And he's just going to go through every single turn and potentially team up with our allies and lead to a very good run, which I actually did have for a long period of time before Ronda came into the equation. So could play a really good role in your unkillable teams, but also in traditional teams because he's got that defensive aura to add to the stats whilst placing decreased attack, decreased defense, and HP burn. So don't overlook him for the, or underlook him, should I say, for the Demon Lord because he holds a lot of value there. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to bring up a run of my Hydra boss team that I just recorded for you guys earlier before recording this video. So this right here is the team that I'm going to be showcasing for you guys. And we've got a 200 arc for decreased attack and block buffs and also the cleanses because we've got the Head of Torment in this equation. And I didn't want to use it Inquisitor Shamail as I just want to showcase the ally attacks of Michinaki here. Coroner for the inner provoke set, being able to lock out that head to keep him under control. And power of the Skinwalkers, we have then brought in a Snick Track, who is a part of this 10x event at the moment. So I thought it'd be really cool to showcase his utility with the shields, decrease speed, and reflect damage. Also the Leech as well, very strong. Pythion was a recent fusion champion, thought why not bring him into the mix as well. Husk for the max HP and provokes, and Michinaki to utilize Hex, decrease attack, drop defense, stop those big hits from Head of Wrath, and just the overall utility that he's going to bring to the table here. So let's just get into this run here. You're going to see so many ally attacks here, guys. We're going to be opening up with Hex, right? We're going to be getting those block buffs out. We're going to have the provokes from Coroner, very, very strong. And let's just get some decreased speeds in there, why not? And some max HP damage. And throughout this run, we're going to be aiming for that one key territory, just so I don't have to do it later on in the week where I always forget and get no soul stones to summon anything. But hopefully we can see some of this passive. So there we go, decreased attack. We're going to be cleansing from the 200 rock. Very cool synergy here in a team like this. Void Legendary, of course, but I always love to use her. And we're going to lock them up with the provokes as well. There we go. Did you see that there, guys? Teamed up with the attack, deal to Warmaster damage, extra turns in Relentless. And it starts to become very cool, especially when your buffs begin to get stolen in times where you might get 3% resisted and stuff like that. So what I'm going to do is, guys, I'll let you enjoy the rest of this run. I'll come back to you towards the end so you don't hear me talking over it the entire time. We'll see where we took it and see how much damage he did throughout our one key, which is aiming for around 30 million or so. So let's get into it. So there we have it, guys. 31.25 million damage dealt, which is about 2 million over the threshold that we need for the brutal difficulty. And when you consider all of the AoE abilities of Husk every single turn, the max HP hits of Husk as well, being in a reflex set, so he's proccing out more. Michinaki has popped out 13 million damage out of a 31 million damage key. Granted, the damage is spread over 6 champions here, meaning he did almost 50% by himself. Of course, we have got Brimstone on him, so it's going to be adding to those damage numbers. So let's just take that down to, let's just say, 11 million, right? Or 12 million. Depends how many times it proc throughout that run. Still very substantial in this team. And if you've got more of an endgame composition, or you were looking for Hex to be implemented, or trying to push from hard to brutal for the first time, Michinaki is a very strong Hydra boss champion. And if you manage to get him, congratulations, because you definitely feel the impact of him on your account. Depending on how you build him and the sustainability and the synergies around him as well, which does play a big contributing factor towards it. Guys, that is going to be all for today's video. If you guys did enjoy it, be sure to hit that like and subscribe button. We are on road to hit 30,000, so every little helps. And yeah, let me know if you're going to be summoning for this champion. I know that it's a lot of shards and it's a lot to consider, especially with fusions always popping up. But if you do happen to get him, hope you guys really enjoy him as well. And check out the Demon Lord Clan Boss team that I did with Michinaki, which will be in the description below. I'll catch you guys in a video soon, and peace.